I'm Caleb.
I'm Ginette, and this is Surely Mental. So there's a quick disclaimer for this episode as well. I just wanted to say that we are not trained, mental health professionals. We are not therapists. We do not really know what we're talking about other than anything from our experiences. So don't take any of this as professional guidance, but more as a, idea, I guess, of what works for some people and what doesn't. So what we're gonna be talking about today is have you been what we're gonna be talking about today is how we struggle with self-care and how we're trying to change that and ways to get started and why self-care is important. I'm gonna say that again. What we're going to be talking about today is self-care and how we've been struggling with it and how we're trying to get better at it and how you can get started with self-care as well. And what tea are you drinking, Caleb?
I am drinking Blackberry Citrus by Bigelow.
And I'm drinking Hot Cinnamon Sunset by Harney and Sons. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how self-care affects your mental health. Specifically, how has self-care affected your mental health, Caleb?
I would say that practicing self-care definitely increases better mental health. And I would say that not only because sometimes you're physically or mentally doing things for you that are beneficial, but the time involved with that, you're also separating out this time just for you. And it can also help you realize that you are important and you may not be in the best of shape. You may not be the greatest person in the world, but you still matter.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
With me, I feel like when I don't practice self-care, I kind of end up in this cycle of not laziness, but not feeling motivated to do anything. And it kind of just feels like there's nothing worth doing. But then once you take those first steps and do even the slightest thing to help your physical or mental self, it just the motivation kicks in and you suddenly feel happier, and stress can become lessened because you aren't sitting there doing nothing, worrying about it the whole time. You're being productive even if you're not being productive, say your stress comes from school. Even if you don't spend all of your time working on that, but you spend time working on yourself, you can still end up with a feeling of productivity and just feeling like you aren't wasting your time, I guess. And why do you think self-care is important?
I think self-care is important because it helps you create boundaries with yourself, and it also just helps your body function. I mean, if without self-care, you're not showering, you have no time for yourself. So I think that with self-care added to your daily routine, you are significantly just improving your health overall, whether that be mental or physical.
Mm-hmm. And so the ways to really get into the beginnings of self-care is a lot taking care of your body. And this has to do with showering, which it sounds gross to people who don't understand what people are going through. But when your motivation gets taken away, it can be hard to do basic things such as showering or brushing your teeth in the morning. And I've fallen into habits of not showering for weeks on end, and it's disgusting. But it's not that I didn't want to, it was just that I didn't have the motivation to do it.
Yep.
And once you just make a habit of it, you feel better immediately. it's one of those like instant serotonin things. Like it can be tiring to do the first time, but once you do it, like you just immediately feel more motivated, more you have more energy, and yeah.
Yeah.
What have your experiences been with like taking care of your body, self care?
With this basic self care, yeah, I've definitely had periods of time where you don't have the energy to take a shower, you don't have the energy to brush your teeth, you don't have the energy to cut your nails, and it sounds crazy to some people. They're like, "Well, you can't do that. What are you talking about? You gross person." But it makes so much sense why you're not able to do it, because there's so many things mentally attacking you. Of course, you don't have time to work on your physical self, but there's always time. And I do think that this is one of those things where it's less of a, oh, maybe one day you'll have the motivation. I think it's you need to get up and just do it. Even if you don't use soap and just stand under the water, even if you're fully clothed, even if it's for a minute, just do it, and then slowly work back towards what would be considered, I guess, normal standards for self-care. Yeah, healthy standards.
And another section of like basic self care includes eating and like eating healthy. For some people, this can mean just making sure you eat at least 3 meals a day. But for other people, it can who already do that, improving their self care with eating can involve trying to build healthier habits, such as like eating more vegetables or proteins and less carbs and sugars. But to a point, it can become obsessive and unhealthy when it's all you care about is maintaining a weight or counting certain amount of calories, and you end up losing all forms of self-worth when you don't meet those standards that you set for yourself. And so I definitely recommend, if you do want to do calorie counting, as like I do, I know Caleb does, just make sure that it doesn't become an obsession, and that you put healthy limits. Like, don't say, oh, I'm only going to have 500 calories a day. Say, like, if you normally eat like 2,000, say maybe I'm going to eat 1,500, something like that. And a big thing and like eating healthy kind of ties into exercise. Like, well, first I want to ask if Caleb has anything to say about healthy eating.
So I have a very interesting relationship with food. There was a period in my life where I was just binge eating. Every single thing I would go in my mouth, I would eat it, chips, broccoli, donuts, I couldn't stop. And at one point I was like, this is not, like, you physically feel sick after eating all that food. So I kind of stopped, and I started like, okay, I'm going to eat 3 meals a day, and I'm going to have like 2 snacks, and that's going to be it. And then that happened, and I reduced my food intake, and I still don't feel great. And I was like, okay, maybe it's because I'm eating, chips, pizza. They're not healthy meals. They're just 3 meals.
Yeah.
So now I have moved on to this eating healthy and calorie counting and all that fun stuff. I currently, around average per day, take in 1,700 calories, but that's because I'm currently on a calorie deficit, which basically just means you burn more calories than you intake. And that's because I'm trying to get my body fat down. It's this whole long story. But as long as you're doing it in a healthy way. So, like, yeah, I count calories. Yeah, I do cardio occasionally. But, like, if I want a donut, I'm going to eat a donut kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also important that you have those cheat days and you're able to do it. And also, don't let it consume yourself. Like, the way I do it is I just eat, and then I put it in my calorie thing, and whatever it says. I'm not choosing my food based around how many calories are in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
that's my food journey.
cheat days are definitely very important, especially when if you want to do a pretty restrictive diet, because like one it can actually hurt your mental health by feeling as if you can't eat what you want to eat or like participate in certain activities such
It
as
can
like
also
moving.
hurt your physical health. I mean, it's safe to lose a certain amount of pounds each week. But I mean, I know I've done research on this for my specific goal, which is not losing weight in and of itself, but losing body fat. And it's like, yeah, you are on that calorie deficit, but if you're on that calorie deficit too much and you eat too little, then your body will not only start burning your fat, but also your muscles. So
Mhm.
it's this balance situation. And everybody's individual, right? 1700 calories work for me, maybe 2200 calories work for you, kind of thing.
Yeah, I read this thing and it was saying the best way if you are planning on losing weight, instead of like there's no like one size fits all the calorie counting.
Yep.
It was saying that I don't know how accurate this is, but it said however many you typically eat in a day, uh, decrease that by 1,000. And of course, don't do that if you already eat healthy and you eat like 1,500 calories a day or something like that. Between that and 2,000, I would not do that at all,
Yep.
because that just becomes very unhealthy. But say you normally eat like 3,000 calories a day, try eating 2,000 calories a day. Or if you eat more than that, just like it was saying, decrease by 1,000.
Or not even just eating, but moving also helps you. Like if you take in 400 calories a day through food, but you work out like crazy and you lose like 3,000 calories through that, then you're only gaining 100, 1,000 calories, which again is this whole one size doesn't fit all situation.
Because everybody, like body types, how
Yep.
like mental, like not mental, physical, like health conditions, all that plays a
And everybody's genetics are different. Some people lose weight easier, others gain muscle easier.
yes. Like I, for instance, have a very slow metabolism, but like I had this friend who has a very fast metabolism, so like she could eat like whatever she wanted and never gained weight, and I had to be more restrictive on that, but that doesn't make it bad. It just means that everybody's different. Everybody can have different habits and different things and still be healthy among themselves. And uh, exercise, as you were saying, definitely plays a big role into how many, not how many, into how your mental health plays out. Because as we kind of mentioned in the last episode, so yoga is a good exercise for mental health, and really anything that gets you moving. It kind of forces you to get up and like you feel like you would lose energy from exercising, but in some cases it actually gives you more energy.
And exercise itself is also a one. Like, exercise for some people could literally just be walking around your house.
Mm-hmm.
While exercise for others is going to the gym and lifting 300 pounds for 3 hours. It's different for everybody.
Yes. And so, what do you do for exercise, Caleb?
I tend to start every day with yoga. I tried this week's been difficult because I've had a lot going on, and I'm sure next week's going to be difficult as well. But I try to start every day with a 30 to 45-minute yoga session. And then I'll walk around a lot. I'll occasionally run. I know with my job, and maybe it's like this for other people, but with my personal job, there's a lot of walking involved with that. I mean, I work at a library. We're corralling children. We're picking books for patrons. We're putting books back. Like it's a lot of moving, which helps things. So I would say that's my exercise. What do you do for exercise, Ginette?
Um, I try to do sports when I can. I didn't this year because basically my mental health was pretty bad, and I was like, I hated like I just didn't feel motivated to do it, so I quit the team. I wish I didn't, but I did quit the team for that year. I'm gonna do it next year, and I'm probably gonna do tennis in the spring. And I also am trying to get into the habit of going to the gym at least once a week. And I don't do any like crazy like weightlifting or big exercises. I just walk. Like in the summer, I would actually go outdoors and walk. but just in the winter, I don't like the cold. So I go inside on a treadmill with heat. Um, and I started at not 2.5 actually. I started at 3 miles um, today. Well, I did 1 mile yesterday because I was just really tiring and I didn't have water. Um, and then I did 3 miles today, and then tomorrow or whenever the next time I go, I'll be gonna try to do 5 miles. And I do it not because I feel like I have to exercise. I do it because like I enjoy walking. I enjoy listening to music, and like I feel like I do the same things that I would be doing sitting on my bed, but I can just do them while I'm getting exercise. And yeah, and then I have a subscription to Apple Fitness Plus. So I sometimes in the morning when I can't go to the gym, I'll set up on my TV a workout, and I'll do that for 10, 20 minutes a day. And it's things as simple as that can really give you more energy. Even if it feels like it's taking away energy, later it will give you energy. And really improve your sense of like, I don't know how to word it.
Well-being.
Yeah, your mental well-being and your physical well-being. And what exercises are good for beginners in your ideas, Caleb?
I think anything that feels comfortable to you, and whatever is in your ability. Like, as with everything, things take time. You're not going to run a marathon on day 6. You're going to run a marathon on year 3. So, like, whatever feels comfortable for you. So, yeah, some exercises are going to leave you feeling sore. That's okay, as long as it's, like, if you are so sore you cannot move the next day, maybe think about dropping a weight. Maybe think about doing it for a less amount of time. So I think, again, it's this communication and conversation with your body of it telling you, like, hey, we need to slow down. And you being like, yeah, okay, I understand. I'm not ready for that yet.
And a lot of, if you watch exercise videos, or like you have a trainer or anything like that, a lot of times there will be modifications that they suggest or that they show.
And always, like, feel free to do modifications. Nobody is judging you. We've all been there.
A lot of people think that like doing the modification is cheating, or it's like you have to do the main version. But the modification is just meaning that you aren't fully ready to do the full thing yet. Maybe you aren't flexible yet, and you want to work on that. But just take it at your own pace. Maybe the first time you do the first like 3 times you do a workout, you have to do the modified one. That is perfectly fine. And then maybe you're able to build up the strength and flexibility or whatever is required in order to eventually do the unmodified one. And then you end up feeling kind of like accomplishment. Like, it's an easier way to like see progress than just trying to force yourself to do it and getting hurt. Because if you get injured, then you have to stop, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Sleep.
I just added this one in because I was thinking about it. There is such thing as not enough sleep, the right amount of sleep, and too much sleep, which this changes depending on age, your like what you do day to day, and I feel like age is like the biggest thing that plays a difference in it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of people when they have depression, they end up either sleeping barely enough, like 3 hours a night, or they end up getting like, in my case, like 11, 12 hours of sleep or more. And that just becomes very unhealthy because your body, while it needs rest, and especially needs rest if you're only getting 3 hours of sleep, while it needs rest, too much rest actually leaves you feeling more tired than you were when you went to bed. And for people who are, that is very big font. For people who are in our age group, so about like teenage to like I'd say like 13 to 19 probably. The recommended amount is between 8 and 10 hours. Um, and any less than that, and you need to get more sleep. Some people don't really have control over it, unfortunately. But however much control over it you have, take advantage of that. Like sometimes all you have to do is cut your screen time, and if you find that you end up spending 2 hours late at night sitting on your phone, maybe reduce that to like 30 minutes and then go to sleep and save those extra hour and a half for sleep. And it's simple things like that that can really cause you to feel more well vested, and then that affects your mental health. Because if you go throughout the entire day feeling exhausted, then you aren't going to enjoy life.
How many hours of sleep would you say you get on a daily basis?
Let me check actually. I get an average of 8 hours and 11 minutes of sleep, which is just in like the healthy range. If I scroll back a couple weeks, that goes up to an average of 10 hours and 42 minutes for 2 weeks ago. And it just, oh sorry, that was actually 2 days ago. Last night I got 8 hours of sleep. 2 days ago I got 10 hours. But week by week, my average time of sleep is 10 hours. And if I go back a couple weeks ago, it goes like way up.
Must be nice. My average this week is 6 hours and 15 minutes.
Which both are just unhealthy because both of us end up I'm assuming you wake up feeling not well rested.
No.
Yeah.
Because even the amount of sleep doesn't matter. It could, like, deep sleep, I think, is what rests you and what restores you. So if you're not ever getting to that deep sleep point, no matter how long you sleep, it's not really helpful.
And one thing that I learned about more recently is the stages of sleep.
Yep.
And such as like trying to time your sleeping so that you are waking up when it's a good time to wake up, when you're in a lighter sleep. Because then you won't, like, if you wake up while you're in REM sleep, which is like when you're dreaming and like you're pretty deep in your sleep.
And that's when you wake up during that time period of sleep, that is the only time period of sleep where you will wake up with memory of your dreams. Just an interesting side note there, but yeah.
But at the same time, when you wake up during that period of sleep, typically, or in deep sleep, you will end up feeling more tired than if you woke up when you were lightly sleeping. Because, like, your body doesn't want to be awake right now. Your body wants to be asleep. And it kind of, there's no, like, specific, like, oh, after 1 hour, you'll be in this stage of sleep. After 2 hours, you'll be in this stage of sleep. It's like, it's cycles.
Like, it's different for everyone.
Mm-hmm. This also depends on, like, age, gender, I think it matters. All different things can affect your sleep and how much you should be getting a night and what's just healthy for you. And kind of moving on, what are some healthy habits that you have, Caleb?
Slowing down and thinking about things before I actually do it. But I also like to meditate, draw, and write. I'm a big fan of poetry because you can express sharp feelings with calm, colorful words.
Yes.
What are some of your healthy habits?
Kind of on the side of writing, I do enjoy like creative writing, though I haven't been able to do it lately, so I wouldn't really consider that I have that habit right now. But I do enjoy journaling, which I've been trying to do like at least like 3 times a week. Ideally every night, but I don't end up doing that. But basically, how journaling helps me is it like everything that like I want to say but I can't. I just jot it down. It might seem like you might look at it later and be like, I am a crazy person.
Well,
but
I don't need to look at a journal to know that.
But what I mean is like, just getting it out there. Like, there's some things that it's not healthy to say out loud because it can like if you're really angry at life and you try telling people that and like just like expressing your anger, those could end up with consequences in your life. So instead, you can kind of just like write it all down. like write down everything that you're feeling, good, bad, positive, like meh. Just like sometimes journaling is just writing down what you did that day. Sometimes it's like yelling at the world. Sometimes it's expressing how happy you are.
Yeah.
But it's just different for everybody, and it can really help relieve your mind of stress. Of like, not stress as in like school stress or work stress, but stress as in mental stress. And I also enjoy art. I like drawing. I haven't done it recently, but I'm hoping to get back into it. I want to draw my thing of my therapist for her. And yeah, so I'm going to do that. And I've also been spending more time on things that I enjoy, such as sewing, crocheting, more like art type things.
Yeah.
Because giving time for yourself really helps you. It improves like everything about your life. It helps you feel happier. It gives you more motivation, so you have more energy. If you know that if you wake up one day thinking like, oh, do not enjoy anything I'm going to be doing this day. Sometimes you don't have control over that. Sometimes you do. But just all in all, you're going to just end up feeling unmotivated and tired. And yet, if you can carve out even like 5 minutes of your day as something to look forward to or something that you're going to enjoy, it can really boost motivation and energy. And just happiness in general. If you at least plan like every day, try to take at least 5 minutes just for yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have anything to add?
No, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the greatest at self-care. I wouldn't say you're the greatest at self-care, but I do think this was an introduction into it.
Yeah, and no one is perfect at self-care.
Yeah,
but
and you never are going to be perfect at self-care.
Yeah. Like even just doing the slightest things, such as we mentioned earlier, like showering, brushing your teeth in the morning, eating healthy, eating at all, that all just like plays a big part into your mental health, and it can really improve your sense of self-worth.
Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap.
Look at us.
Thanks for tuning in. Surely Mental is a weekly podcast released on Mondays at 3 p.m.
Don't forget to follow us at Surely Mental Podcast on all socials. This is Caleb.
And Ginette.
You can find us personally on all socials at cable_2431.
And at Ginette Ireland. This was Surely Mental. See you next time.